Hello, welcome to my biohacking menopause, learning to listen to the whispers of your body so that your body never has to scream. So please let me know where you're from, and I promise I will definitely answer all your questions in the comments. And then if you're watching the replay, please let me know that you're watching replay by typing in replay in the comments. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer the questions for you. So I thought we would start this evening with biohacking menopause. Please follow my page at Facebook called Biohacking Menopause, and where I offer tips and techniques and tools that you can use to help you navigate your menopausal journey. So whether you're in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, all the tips and techniques will be useful for you. In tonight's live presentation, I'm also going to give you a little bit of biohacks as we talk about, what we experience as we go through menopause. There's so many symptoms, from hot flashes to night sweats, to insomnia, to weight gain, to brain fog, and the list goes on and on and on. And really the foundation is those are the symptoms. Well, what's the root cause? And that's where I differentiate myself from other menopause coaches. I really search for the root cause of the symptom, and then we work together to find the root cause and then heal from the root of your symptoms. And of course, this is different for everybody. Because we're not the same, there's no way that my symptoms will be the same as yours. And that's the unique thing about Ayurvedic medicine. It is the science of life is what it translates to in English, Ayurveda. And it really teaches us how to be preventative in how we manage our symptoms. The more we listen to the whispers of the body, then the body does not have to scream. Unfortunately, we're programmed to wait for the scream and then we react. But if we did the work along the way and we listened to the whispers and we did those subtle tweaks, then the body hopefully will never have to scream. So I wanted to share with you, I thought we'd start with a grounding meditation. And the reason I'm choosing this is because right now we're in Vata season. So Vata in Ayurvedic medicine, or Ayurveda, is an excess of air. So as we move from summer to fall, you may have found that just naturally you feel a little bit more anxious, so a little bit more anxiety. You may have a little bit of restless sleep, so not sleeping as well as you'd like to. You may also find that you feel a little bit sluggish. You don't feel like doing as much. You feel like almost hibernating. So those are all Vata signs. And what it tells us is that we have to ground and we have to take the time to come into stillness. We can only listen to the whispers of the body when we find that quiet space to take the time to listen. If we're always busy going and doing, we don't have time to listen. So we do have to come into that stillness, that still point, and really take the time to listen to what our body's asking of us and what our body's saying. So with this time, if you are feeling a little bit more restless, if you're feeling a little bit more anxious, there might be a little disconnect between the mind and the body. So the mind is overactive, over chatting. So we really have to come into the body to make sure it's grounded. So let's start with just a short little grounding meditation to bring us into our body. So if you'd like, you can sit comfortably or you can even lie down. So lying down on the floor, on your bed, on the sofa, whatever feels comfortable for you. So let's begin by just closing our eyes. Let's start by taking a nice deep inhale through your nose And then just let it go with a gentle sigh from the mouth. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling through the nose. And then just let go of any excess chatter, any busyness from your day. Allow it just to softly begin to dissolve away from the mind. And then bring your attention to your breath. And then we're going to use a little bit of imagination and a little bit of vision skills. We're going to be grounding from our waist down. So I want you to imagine that you're this big, beautiful 100-year-old oak tree, and you have roots that go far, deep, and wide, and for miles and miles. So these beautiful roots break through the chair that you're seated on, break through the foundation of the building, of the house, and it penetrates through the crust of the earth as it descends and tries to find that beautiful core, that magnetic core of the earth. Let those roots spread wide and down as it passes through the crust of the earth. And then it comes upon the core of the earth. And that's the breath of Mother Earth. And then when you find the core of Mother Earth, and just wrap yourself around this beautiful centrifuge of feeling that the roots are so firmly grounded and rooted. And then you're going to say to yourself 3 times, I am safe. You can say it aloud or you can say it softly or to yourself. I am safe. I am safe. And then you're going to say, I am secure 3 times. Aloud or to yourself in silence. I am secure. I am secure. I am secure. And then lastly, you're going to say, I am home to yourself 3 times. Again, either quietly or out loud. I am home. I am home. I am home. And I want you to feel any subtle changes in your breath, in your body, in your mind. And then you can softly open your eyes. So that beautiful grounding meditation, just make sure that we feel safe, secure, and grounded into our body, into our home, which is our inner self. So it's a beautiful time to do it because of the change of season. So again, if you have felt excess restlessness, if you felt the mind is really busy and chatting too much, if you felt that you're not sleeping as well, it's because it is the Vata time in Ayurvedic medicine. So this is the time where we have to pay more attention to ourselves, take this time for self-care, and then also take this time to ground. So that grounding meditation you can do anytime. You can do a number of times in the day, but it's really important, especially when you find that your mind is going crazy. It's too busy. There's too much chatter, and there seems to be a disconnect between the mind and the body. That's the whisper that the body says, okay, I need some attention. We need to quiet the mind as we come into the body. So with biohacking menopause, it's all about building a strong foundation. So even if you're on hormone replacement therapy or bioidentical hormones, you still need to have a strong foundation. So what is a strong foundation? In Ayurveda, there are 4 pillars that we use to make sure that we are firmly grounded and that we have a strong foundation. I like to think of a strong foundation like the roots of the tree that we used for grounding. And these roots go for miles and miles. And anything that comes up, that tree is still standing because it's so solidly grounded. The same for us. The better grounded and the more grounded we are, whatever life throws at us, all those curveballs, we can navigate. We don't feel overwhelmed because we are so solidly grounded that we know exactly what we have to do and the steps that we have to take. So one of the first pillars of the foundation, of course, is our digestive system. So lately in science, there has been a direct correlation between the gut and the brain. So when women say they have brain fog, again, brain fog is a symptom. What is the root cause of that symptom? A lot of times it's because of the gut. So if we treat the gut and the digestive system is nice and healthy, that microbiome is healthy, you have good connection between the vagus nerve, which runs from the digestive system all the way up to the brain, then you shouldn't have brain fog. But again, we work from the root cause of that brain fog. The brain fog is just a symptom. So as we work to balance digestion, we work with the doshas. So the doshas in Ayurveda, there's 3 main doshas, and we go through all this together in my program. There's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And all of us are made of all 3 doshas, but we usually have one that is our predominant dosha, and then the other 2 can maybe vary a little bit. So for example, a Vata dominant person doesn't do well eating gassy foods like lentils, beans, for example. They do better eating foods that are more protein-based and that are complex carbohydrates. So the Vata type also has the most sensitive digestive system. So you know that old phrase, you are what you eat? That is especially true for the Vata dosha. So if you're a Vata type, you have to be more careful and you have to monitor your digestion every single day. So I like to use the analogy of eating a pizza. So we have 3 dosha types, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and all 3 are having a pepperoni pizza. So the pepperoni pizza has flour, so gluten, has pepperoni, so meat, and then of course it has cheese. So all those mixed together, the Vata person, after they eat the pepperoni pizza, will have either bloating, gassiness, acid reflux, or heartburn. The Pitta person who eats the pizza, because they have a very strong metabolism and they can easily digest foods, they won't feel anything. The Kapha person who has that exact same pizza will definitely feel bloating. They'll have an excess mucus, so maybe a little bit of sinus congestion, sometimes more mucus in the throat. So again, those are all signs that something's wrong with the digestion. So remember, the body always talks to us. The body always whispers to us, and it's up to us to listen. So all 3 people ate the same pizza, but they definitely did not feel the same after eating the pizza. Interesting, isn't it? It's quite fascinating to say, you know, we're definitely all not made the same. So there's no way we can assimilate the foods the same, absorb the foods the same, metabolize the foods the same. So obviously we're going to all feel different, even though we all ate the same foods. So the Pitta type, if you're a Pitta predominant person, you suffer more from acidic. So Pitta types have to be really careful in making sure they keep the body more alkaline because they have a natural tendency to go towards more of an acidic nature. So think heartburn, acid reflux, burning. That's very much excess fire, which is Pitta. The Kapha person is the more mucousy, watery type of person. So they have to be careful. For example, cheeses, gluten, all have more of a watery substance. So for the kapha type, they will definitely have bloating. That'll be very common for them. They may have excess mucus in the sinus congestion, and perhaps a little bit more mucus through the throat and the lungs as well. So again, something to keep in mind in terms of how we actually assimilate, absorb, and eliminate our foods. Because again, we're not all the same. We're all so unique. And that's where Ayurveda really stands out in the medicine world, is that it really works with each individual. And depending on what their imbalances are and what prakriti, their main dosha is how we work through menopause. Because again, it's not the same for all of us. So for digestion, I like to say that as we get older, we have to learn how our body works. So intermittent fasting is something that's become very popular. So the most popular one for intermittent fasting is the 16-8 rule, where you eat for 8 hours and then you fast for 16 hours. This gives your body the opportunity to really do the work it needs to do in those 16 hours. So for example, if you finish your dinner at 7 p.m., then the next morning you don't eat until 11 a.m. So the body has the ability to do all the assimilation, the elimination, the absorption during the evening. And then when you sleep, the body does all the deeper work, all that deep cellular work, because it's not focused on digestion anymore. You've had a long time for the body to rest, and then the deeper work can happen. Now, what happens if we eat too late at night and then we go to sleep? Unfortunately, then the digestive system gets impaired because we're going to bed and the digestive system or the belly is still full. So when you're still full, the work at night, the body focuses on repairing the digestive system. It doesn't focus on everything else, like the endocrine system, the immune system, the circulatory system, etc., etc. So it's better if we can eat a little bit earlier and then take a nice big rest for the body really to do its work that it needs to do in the evening and at night when we sleep. Of course, we all know sleeping is not easy, especially as we get older. Now, being Vata's time, so as I said in the very beginning, this is the change of season from summer to fall, where we become just naturally, because of the way the earth is moving, because of the atmosphere, we become a little bit more restless. Our nervous system goes into overdrive. So it almost feels like you're that hamster on a wheel that keeps running and running and running and running. And that hamster only jumps off the wheel when the body starts to scream. And again, we don't want the scream. We want to listen to the whispers and take that time for self-care. So with our nervous system, what I love is making sure that we come into our parasympathetic system. So that place of peace, of calm, of digest, that's where the body can really do the deeper work, is when it's in that calm parasympathetic system. As we keep on going and doing like that hamster on a wheel, we're in the autonomic nervous system, that place of always going and doing and being busy. The body can't do the work when we're so busy and when the body's busy. Again, in order to listen to the whispers of the body, we have to find that time to be in stillness and silence, because that's when the repair work happens. That's when we can listen to the whispers of the body, is when we come into stillness. I have a beautiful little biohack that brings us automatically from our autonomic nervous system, that place of always going and doing, and we come into our parasympathetic nervous system, that place of rest, digest, peace, and calm. It also helps to ignite that vagus nerve, and we talked about that in the beginning, and that's that vagus nerve that comes from the digestive system and comes all the way up to the brain. And that's the communication between the brain, and the digestive tract. So this is a beautiful one, and we can just do it for like a minute or so. So again, sit comfortably. Again, if you'd like, you can lie down on your sofa or on your bed, and then close your eyes. And then this beautiful saying is, if the breath could speak, the words of the breath would be so hum. And that's in Sanskrit. So on your inhale, you're going to say so, S-O. So, and you're saying it just silently to yourself. And if you want, you can say it out loud too. Some people really like the vibration that they feel when they say these mantras. So on your inhale, you say so. And then on your exhale, you say hum, H-A-M. And again, you can either say it silently to yourself, or you can say it out loud and feel the vibration of the so hum. And we'll do that just for a few breaths. And then you can softly open the eyes. So I don't know if you felt that, but you feel a sense of calm. I could feel it, definitely. I always find when I say so hum, I get this nice little smile on my face that just comes from my inner body, because the body's loving the quietness, that stillness, and that so hum again just ignites that vagus nerve, the vagal nerves that automatically come into your parasympathetic system. So that's a beautiful one. That's a good little biohack to do anytime you feel time of stress, anytime you feel that the mind is overactive. There might be a disconnect between mind and body. The best way and the quickest way to come into the parasympathetic system is the words of the breath, which are so hum. So that's one of my favorite biohacks for our central nervous system. Now we move on to our endocrine system. So endocrine system, of course, consists of our hormones. So all of our hormones that we have, that we go through our menopause. But what I love about Ayurveda is we don't just address the hormones. So we just don't address the estrogen, the progesterone, the testosterone. We always also address the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. Now, these are the places of your endocrine system, which also includes your thyroid, your thymus, and your adrenal glands. So the whole endocrine system gets to be nourished, not just the main hormones. So my favorite biohack for our endocrine system is so easy, doesn't cost any money. It is actually early morning light. And there's now lots of scientific evidence of the benefits of going outside in early morning light. So you just need about 5-10 minutes. It doesn't have to be for a long time. No sunglasses and very little sunscreen, or no sunscreen, so you can get the vitamin D from the sun. And even if there's no sunshine, it doesn't really matter. It's the early morning light that you want. And what that does just naturally is it balances your pineal gland and your pituitary gland. And again, that's the seat, that's the home of your whole entire endocrine system. So if your pineal gland and your pituitary gland are balanced, the hormones will have a better flow. You won't have all those symptoms that blindside you as much, because the pineal and the pituitary glands are well nourished. I love to use homeopathic medicine, and that's how I was trained. It was homeopathy. And there are specific homeopathic treatments that you take a spray in your mouth, and they're specifically for the pineal and pituitary glands. And I love to put all my women who are in perimenopause, who are just starting it, and even postmenopause, that they can just take these simple sprays and they just feel that there's a better sense of self. The hormones don't fluctuate drastically that they would if you were just maybe going through naturally. But if you were taking the homeopathics, they have a more of a balanced flow in the hormonal system because they work on the root cause. They work on the pineal and pituitary glands. So again, that's my favorite biohack for the endocrine system, as the early morning light and the homeopathic. And then the other ones, the last of the 4 pillars. So we had digestion, we had nervous system, we had the endocrine system, and the last pillar is our circulatory and lymphatic system. And we don't really talk about that too much, but circulation, so circulation, blood flow, energetic flow, lymphatic flow are all so important because that's what keeps us juicy. That's what keeps us alive. That's our life force, our prana, our chi is the flow in our body. If we don't have natural vitality, what happens is we use our adrenals to push us through the day. And that's that hamster on the wheel that keeps running and running and running and only stops and jumps off that wheel when they hit burnout. And we don't want that. Again, we want to listen to the whispers of the body so that the body never has to scream. So again, you have to pay attention because again, as we get older, things start to slow down. Things don't flow as easily as they used to. We wake up with a little bit more stiffness, sometimes with some pain. But again, that's the way of the body talking to us. That said, there's something blocked. There's something that's not working, and we need to pay more attention to that. So my favorite biohack here is somatic work. So somatic techniques. So it's not yoga. It's not lifting weights. It's actually movement that brings you into your body so you can feel the difference between right side when you've done the work, the somatic work, and your left side. You can actually feel the flow of circulation, blood flow, lymphatic tissue on the side that you've worked on compared to the opposite. And I love the somatic work that I do. And the reason it works so well is because you don't need any equipment. You can do it anywhere. It's not expensive because you don't need anything. It's just you knowing what to do and how to do it. And that's the key. But that keeps us flowing. That keeps our lymphatic system going, our circulation going, our blood flow moving. It's all nourishing our nerves, our fascia, keeping away from that pain cycle and making sure everything is flowing and moving. So again, our life force, which is our prana in Ayurveda, is right in our bone marrow. And that's where you want to start, which of course is at the very base of the sacrum, which is also that central nervous system. So again, everything is connected. So it's really important that we pay attention to what's stuck in our body. And this is actually where the juiciness starts, because as we work on the 4 foundations, so once we build a strong foundation with the 4 pillars that we talked about, we get deeper into where the blocks, where are we stuck? Where is there stickiness in the body? And this is where the magical work begins, because hey, we all have blocks. We all have stickiness in the body. But it's being able to dig deeper into the roots of where that is, and then working to release. So if we have a block in the body, we'll say here, my hand is the block. So when there's a block, there's no flow, because if it's a block, there's nothing that can move through it. So first we have to work on releasing the block so that we can invite the flow to happen. And that's what I love to do. So I work, after we have the strong foundation in place, we work on mental blocks, physical blocks, emotional blocks, spiritual blocks, and even money blocks. We all hold old stories from family when we were young, our childhood, from family, maybe even ancestral. There's some stories, some programming, some rewiring that we have to do because we all have blocks in the body. And that's where my specialty is working with you to release those blocks so that we can bring flow into the body. And I'm always surprised. Almost every day I work on releasing blocks. Just because you never know what comes up. There's always something. So again, all the blocks in the body, starting with the mental blocks. So the stories that we tell ourselves. I'm not worthy. I can't receive. I don't know how to do this. I'm not smart. All those stories that we have. And you know what? Those stories can be from childhood. They can be from ancestors. They can be from family ties. But we work on releasing those. And then emotional blocks, physical blocks, spiritual blocks, and then money blocks are a big one. So that's where sometimes that juicy work really begins, is sometimes releasing those blocks so that we can have flow in the body. So again, even if you're on HRT or bioidentical hormones, we still have to work on clearing those blocks. The old programming and those old stories have to be let go. They have to be shed. And then we come into our full vitality, our full vibration. And then we find our Dharma. Dharma is our purpose in life. Who am I? What is my purpose? Those are some of the deeper questions that we come to as we get older. And those are some of the deeper questions that, you know what, you don't have to do all the work yourself. You can ask for help. And that's one of the reasons I created this women's circle, Thrive and Bloom. I was told that I had to share my wisdom, my medical intuitiveness that I have with more people. I can't keep it for myself. It has to be passed down. I was very lucky and fortunate that I came from, generations of Ayurvedic doctors, and a lot of my information, all of my transmissions for learning have been passed down. They're not all in books. They've been transcribed by the masters and then given to me. And so I do need to share them. And as women, sometimes we feel like we have to do everything ourselves, and we don't. We can ask for help. It's almost going back to that old original, community where there's always a medicine woman, and that medicine woman held her tribe close by, and she watched how they were doing, how they were healing, how their health was, how they were mentally, how they were emotionally, and led them through so that they would have a vital and vibrant life. That's what I want to do. I want to be that medicine woman, and I'm just going to have a small group of women. I don't want a large group because I don't want to burn myself out, but I'm going to have my eyes on your health. And that's where transformation begins, because I can see things that you may not have seen. And then we can work to the root cause and then eliminate some of those blockages, some of those stagnation of energy, some of the pain and the tightness in the body. And that's when the magic comes, is when we start to release what was holding us back. We let that go, and then we come into flow. I want to share with you what one of my clients wrote. I'm just going to pull it up here on my iPad, and her name's Emily. And she wrote, Simi made me feel very welcomed and comfortable to share all my concerns with. I was amazed and astounded with what Simi was able to pick up and tap into regarding my health that no Western medicine doctor has either acknowledged or taken seriously. I see many different specialists for each of my health conditions, and the difference with Simi is that she takes a whole body approach, which I'm very much appreciative of. I would highly recommend Simi to anyone seeking optimal health and wellness. So thank you, Emily, for that. And I think that's how I differentiate myself. I have my eyes on your health. I share my wisdom and my knowledge and my medical intuitiveness so that you can have vibrant health as we get into our 60s, our 70s, our 80s, our 90s. We can always have and take care of others when we are the best version of ourselves. So remember, listen to the whispers of your body so that your body never has to scream. If you would like me to share my Thrive and Bloom Women's Circle with you, just comment biohack and I will send you a link, and then we can book a call together to make sure we're the right fit, and then I can send you the information. I want to thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate having you here. And again, comment biohack and I will be happy to send you my calendar link to book a free call with me. And then we can always connect, and then I can send you the link as well for the actual program. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. If you have any questions, please put that in the comments too. I promise I'll answer the questions as well. Have a lovely evening and listen to the whispers of your body. Don't wait for the screams. Bye-bye.